All right, Kevin, what's going on with the DeMan GT4 here?
How's it going? So customer came back in to do a little bit more work. So we have the numeric shift kit that actually came in. This is going to be replacing the actual shifter and replacing the actual cables for the shifter. The main reason why we're doing this is because this is completely metal compared to all this plastic that's in the old shifter. And as you can probably see, all the links are completely plastic. I mean, the only thing that's metal is this section here at the top, the actual shifter. And then the links are also plastic with some plastic bushing. So overall, if we're gonna be using this at the track and going super fast, trying to shift quickly, over time there's just gonna be a lot of wear. So this is just a really nice way to get a stiffer feel in the shifter, and it's also gonna be a lot more reliable. So here you can see this is where the other point is at. It's also all plastic. You have the metal spring there, but everything, including from the mounting point of the cable itself, is all plastic. So that's why we're doing the replacement. So we're going to be taking out the rest of the center console. Alright, so obviously we got all the interior out now. All these cables hide under the center console here between this like Velcro strap. So this all goes through a flange, and this is the full firewall. So here you can now see the engine, and this actually goes right over the engine inside of here, and now it goes towards the back where the transmission is located at. So now that we have all of this accessible, now we can raise the vehicle up and then take all the cables off from underneath the vehicle. We got everything back off of this car on the cover. So right here are the two cables that go over the engine. They usually go in front, but we already pulled them out. So these would go over the engine and then down between the transmission, and they will go between the two sides of the engine compartment on the bottom of the vehicle. So we're gonna raise up the vehicle, and then we'll kind of show where the cables go. All right, so we had to take the inner body panel off, and then right here to the right of transmission, you can see where the cable is at. So we have to pry that out, and usually taking that underbody panel, we can access the two cables. Then the one on the left side is going to be located right at the very top of the transmission here. So you kind of just pop those out, and then you can take the bracket off, and then all of that just comes from the top of the vehicle. So then we'll just take it off and then start the replacement on the new ones. We got everything loosened up, and get some light over here. So now everything just pulls out. These should be all free now, so we can pretty much just pull these out. Comes out as a pair. Then we'll have to swap over this little gasket with the new lines. But as you can see, there's the little plastic tabs that hold everything together. It's going to be a little bit different comparing those to the new ones having metal mounting points here. So that should definitely be just a lot more robust, especially shifting a lot in the mountains. It's going to make a huge difference in just making sure nothing breaks. But yeah, we'll start to put everything together for the new set, and then we'll use this tube as a heat shrink, kind of a heat shield for the engine side of it. Alright, so it does include these little caps, and you can't forget about these because these are the little points that actually connect to like the shifter on the wall socket here. So definitely just want to install these to the socket side on every single one. And they install pretty easily, so small little thing, but obviously you can't forget about that, especially once we're installing everything. We kind of have to mimic how everything is from factory. It has this little rubber shield, which, like I was saying, goes kind of over the engine. So now we have to find a way to get this hose all the way inside of this cable. It has these bigger bolts here, so you can't really just slide it through. So what we have over here is we cut the hose into a spiral. And we'll actually add some heat shrink on some of the sections just to make sure it clamps down on the cable and that this doesn't come loose inside of the engine compartments. We never see that, it's always covered. So we'll just do a little bit extra using zip ties and some heat shrink, and kind of go over the entire cable and the same length of the one that's for the factory cable. and then it has this little grommet that goes to the firewall. So we'll just cut a small slit through this, and we'll transfer it over to the new 2 cables that go through the firewall, and then we'll also add some heat shrink to that, just to make sure it's protected from the elements. So we got everything routed up, and we got the hoses coming over the engine, and then they're going through the firewall right here, so there'll be a cover, and we're using the stock grommet to be able to pass the cables through without getting any of the engine exhaust fumes and whatnot into the cabin. And then we got everything mounted up to the stock bracket here. So then we'll install the center console again, and we'll be able to mount everything up to the actual shifter. Alright, so we're actually grinding down this little tab. So this one has it, and that's what it looked on here. So there's a big washer that goes on this bracket inside of the car. So now we're just gonna grind it down and then clean it up for it to mount properly. So before, that washer was sitting at an angle, not sitting flush. So now the entire washer is sitting flush up against the bracket. Like right now we have the shifter propped up just to see like where the location's gonna be. That way we can test the side-to-side play. And then we're also adjusting the these little collars here. And you can make all the adjustments here. And it's just kind of playing the, where is this gonna sit? You kind of want there to be right down the middle. And so we're kind of going based off of that motion on when it's shifting. It makes a pretty significant difference, even adjusting it like half an inch from here. I mean, it's like a couple turns, but it's just that little play. I mean, it's already a very short shifter, so just making sure it's going to be in a comfortable spot when you're shifting quickly, especially at a track. You don't want to be thinking about it. You want to make sure that the shifter's kind of going into gear like by itself. All that play is not there. You can go 1, 2, 3, like, and you're not thinking about money shifting it. So that's like the biggest thing, is just making sure that there's enough play where you can feel the difference on the different gears. So that's where I can kind of finalize everything, and at this point everything can go back together. There is a way, it has the same adjustment in the clutch, or I guess the transmission side. It's just a lot harder to access those. Alrighty, so yeah, we got the whole interior back together. Everything looks all cleaned up, and we wiped everything down since it was a little dusty from being up in the mountains, but everything cleaned up really well, and looks like it was never touched. So I won't mess with it too much since the car's not running, but I mean, it's a super short throw, very notchy, and then we'll go drive it and kind of get like a first, reaction of how it feels while it's on the road with it. The thing just sounds so good, but jeez, it's incredibly short. I mean, it's got to be more than double of like the difference. It's nice too because it's like effortless. I mean, 2-finger action there.
Jeez. Having driven the car, numeric shifter upgrade, worth it?
Yeah, 100% all the way. I mean, for someone that drives it that much around the mountains, like, it's definitely a must. It drastically changed the feeling of it. It's
Speaking of someone getting pulled over. Oh, it's a bike cop too. He definitely heard that. He definitely heard that. Oh no.
Oh my god, that was funny. And that person in that car probably hates you. They're like,
Yeah,
how did that guy not get pulled over?
They're like, what? What?
Look at him. What is he doing?
Big
Driving
rainbow car.
A rainbow Cayman